Come with me and explore the world's rarest rainforest.
This is what a climate scientist would call a temperate rainforest. These special environments are found globally, from Canada's British Columbia to Chile, from Norway to New Zealand, known in the UK as Atlantic or Celtic rainforests.
Amazingly, the temperate rainforest only makes up 1% of all rainforests worldwide.
These woods used to cover 1/5 of the UK, but now only represent 1% of our land. This otherworldly concoction of broadleaf, coniferous trees, mosses, ferns and lichen are a rare display of what our ancient woodlands would have looked like.
You see, I want my channel to be a resource for everything fantasy, and what could be more fantastical than the rarest rainforest in the world?
There is something especially timeless and supernatural about this kind of environment. One could be exploring a time where dinosaurs still exist, or fully expect a fey creature to lure me into their dell, with treasures incomprehensible to a human's mind. Great Britain's rainforests are found scattered along the western coasts, from Scotland down through Cumbria and Wales to Devon and Cornwall. This biome exists because of their proximity to the Irish and Celtic seas. This proximity, along with the Gulf Stream, means that an abundance of rainfall and warmth are found here, which allows emphysites, plants that grow on other plants and get their moisture and nutrients from the air, to grow. We usually recognise emphysites as the vines and orchids that inhabit tropical rainforests, but in this case tree trunks are littered with lichens, fungi, mosses and polypody ferns. Lichens, incredibly, are composite organisms created when a fungus and a photosynthetic partner combine. Lichens can grow in a variety of ways, from branch-like varieties such as wolf lichen to powdery, leprose variants and even gelatinous growth forms. These organisms predate humans, trees, flowers and even the dinosaurs. These aren't the only elements though, as algas, yeasts and cyanobacteriums also contribute to the odd community of microorganisms. The fungi that inhabit Britain's rainforests are exceptionally rare. The hazel gloves fungi, Hycrocreopsis rhododendri, as the name suggests, only grows on old hazel trees and, along with being an indicator of ancient woodland, is a priority for conservation. Mosses, from a family of plants called bryophytes, cover the rainforest floor, rocks and trees. There are over 1,000 varieties that live in Britain, from swan's neck thyme moss to bristle and common striated moss. These plants create an essential habitat for the insects and decomposers, such as woodlice, slugs and worms, which break up rotting plant matter and in turn enrich the surrounding soil. The polypody fern is a hardy plant that has laddering leaves and a leathery textured foliage. It inhabits damp, shady places in the forest and has its greatest biodiversity in the tropics. The polypody, in the name, refers to the yellow-brown clusters where the spores are located, in pods, along the underside of the leaves. The trees that make up the rainforest are predominantly hazels, birches, ashes, pines and oaks. The oaks in question were once referred to as scrub oaks due to their shrunken, shrub-like forms. Because of this, these trees were not deemed as desirable to build Britain's historic navy from. There would be a priority for lowland oak forests to be replaced and regrown for the continual replacement of Britain's naval fleet. In contrast, the scrub oak was used for fuel, whilst the land was converted to be used for agriculture and industry. This led to a decline of this already rare biome. Human involvement is not the only threat to these forests. Overgrazing, particularly by deer, and invasive species such as the rhododendron have severely affected the rainforest's ability to flourish. Luckily, wildlife trusts and charities have begun to manage these ancient woodlands and aim to reconnect isolated sites to rebuild a well-managed rainforest. This woodland is a glimpse of the terrain prehistoric Britons would have inhabited, and hopefully they could be nurtured and conserved for our future generations. Prehistoric Britons would have used places like this for their pagan worship. Pagan is a difficult word to use for this, as it is inherently broad, as it seems it means a religion, usually polytheistic, that isn't of the Abrahamic family of religions. An animistic religion is what better describes the way ancient Britons would have worshipped. This is the thought that supernatural powers animate and organise the material universe, also attributing souls to inanimate objects such as plants, rocks, rivers, and even weather systems. This would mean prehistoric peoples would have had a personal relationship with the land they lived in, seeing the natural waxing and waning a landscape exhibits. Much like we see in other indigenous religions, humans would have relied on their surroundings to feed, clothe, and warm them, and so, in times of good harvest, would feel compelled to offer thanks to the local spirits. Places like this, just as they are now, were places for quiet contemplation and an appreciation of the most basic of human urges, fresh air and gorgeous scenery.
So the next time you're contemplating what terrain and climate you'd like your imagined worlds to be, maybe think about including a temperate rainforest in there.